everyone, welcome to the Distressed Princess. Today I'm working on rustic farmhouse DIYs, and these items can all be found at the Dollar General and the Dollar Tree. In the first project, I'm using a picture frame that I got at the Dollar General, and it was on sale. I bought two. If you bought one, you got the second one half off, so I actually have two of these, and I like the color of them a lot. I'm using some scrapbook paper that I got from Hobby Lobby, the 4 for $1 kind, and also a metal flower. It's a garden stake from the Dollar Tree. The first step is to remove the back from the picture frame, also the glass and the little picture insert that comes with it. I'll be using the glass as a guide to cut out a piece of scrapbook paper to go inside the frame. And today I'm using a new tool called the roller cutter from the Dollar Tree. And I'm gonna tell you right away, I loved using this tool. It just glides so nicely across that paper, and it cut right through. Now, when I did my cut across, it's because my surface is beadboarded and I had some little places where it didn't cut all the way through, but if you had a flatter surface than I do, then you wouldn't have that trouble. But I loved the roller cutter, that's the point. And then I put the scrapbook paper back inside the frame. Not that I don't appreciate a sunny yellow flower, but it just doesn't go with my decor, so I'm going to remove it from its metal stake, which pops right off. The welded things at the Dollar Tree are usually not hard to just take apart with your bare hands, which is good for us crafters. So no tools needed, nothing required here. Just pop the stake off, and now it's ready for painting. And I'm using Waverly White chalk paint, and I'm going to give it 2 good coats. Now I'm going to use Waverly Antique Wax to dirty up this flower. I always think that that's kind of funny, dirty up something. That my sister and I, many years, I'm talking like 20 years ago, used to dirty up our furniture with brown paint. And I hear other people saying it now, and I don't know, it just sounds funny. But dirty up your flower. If you get too much of the brown, easy, just take a paper towel or a rag and wipe some of it back off, and just play around with it until you get the distressed effect that you like. To attach the flower to the front of the frame, I'm going to use another product new to me, and it is also from the Dollar Tree. It is Super Glue Fix-It-All adhesive. It says solves all your gluing, sealing, and repairing problems. So we'll see. So it didn't want to stay down just with the super glue. So I'm using hot glue on top of the super glue to see if I can't get a better immediate hold. Maybe if I would have held it down longer, I don't know. I don't know about that super glue, guys. Now I'm going to make a hanger for this picture using this really pretty ribbon that I got at the Dollar General for $2. It's so cute with that lace print on it. I wish that they would have had more. They only had just this one spool. I would have bought them all up. I am so in love with this ribbon. Anyway, enough about my love for this ribbon. It was too wide for this little picture, so I folded it in half and hot glued it together to make it a thinner strip. On the placement of the hanger, I decided it was cuter more toward the center, so that meant I had some excess on the back, but that's okay. I hot glued the hanger down and then I cut off the excess. The only problem with having that excess and having to cut it off was it was a little bit of waste of my pretty ribbon, so that's kind of sad. Here's a trick. I'll actually, if I hang this on the wall, be using the hanger on the frame, and the hanger we just made is pretty much just for looks. Have you seen people do this? Like, you can put a hanger on the wall, but it won't actually be hanging from that. It would actually be hanging from the hanger on the back of the frame. Does that make sense? For the next project, I'm using this gold wire basket from the Dollar Tree and this wood block decoration also from the Dollar Tree. I wanted the basket to be black. I didn't have any black spray paint because I think that would have been best, but I'm using black chalk paint, just a little bottle that I found at Dollar General, and I'm using a new technique. I saw people do this online with spindles on a stairway, and I thought it might be neat to try on this basket, and so I have to tell you, it was pretty neat. I feel like it was easier to get around all the little places than it would be with a paintbrush, and I got better at it as I went along, and it also gave kind of a rusty, like a rusty vibe, because it does get a little thicker in places, a little thinner in places, and I don't know, I really liked the effect of this. Already that basket looks 100 times cuter painted black to me, my opinion. Now, we're going to use the metal piece off the front of this wooden block, and if you have a teeny tiny screwdriver, which I do, I just didn't want to go hunt for it, you can use the tip of a steak knife to remove those little bitty screws. And that's all it takes to remove the really cool metal piece off the front of this. I needed there to be a back for this metal piece, and I had this cardboard super glue packaging that was the perfect thickness, and I'm going to cover that with this wood contact paper that is from the Dollar Tree. Super simple, just traced out the size that I needed and cut out the cardboard. Then I cut out a piece of the contact paper big enough that it would wrap around the whole piece of cardboard. Now, looking back, I wish that I would have just cut 2 pieces of the contact paper, one for each side of the cardboard. And I think that would have been a cleaner way to do it instead of how I'm doing it here, which is kind of wrapping it. And this right here is the reason why I wish I would have just cut 2 pieces, one for each side, because on the back side, you have to hot glue down what's left over. I guess I could have cut it. I guess that would have worked too. I didn't think this whole thing through, I guess. Well, no matter how you get there, the whole point is to have a wood piece, a wood looking piece for the back of your frame. Now, I'm going to use that super glue once again to try to glue the wood piece, I keep calling it wood, it's not wood, the cardboard wood looking piece to the back of the frame. Now make sure you leave the top edge unglued, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So the reason why we didn't glue the top edge is so that if you wanted to change things up, you could cut a piece of cardstock and put writing on it, a word, whatever you want to put inside the basket, and you can slip that piece of cardstock down inside your metal frame and have it say different things. To attach the metal frame to the metal basket, I'm using JB Weld. And that is because I've had the best luck when trying to glue metal pieces or wood to metal, anything metal. JB Weld is my go-to. To decorate my basket, I rolled up napkins and tied them with jute twine. And a little secret, these aren't even really napkins. This is a tablecloth from the Dollar General store that I cut up to look like napkins, and I tied them up with jute string just for cuteness. I'm very curious to know, would you please leave me a comment and let me know, do you like it better just with the wood backing, or do you like it better with the word napkins? For the next project, I'm using this little decorative sign that I got at the Dollar Tree, and also some of these new, I don't know if they're called wood flowers or what they are, but they're the perfect rustic farmhouse colors. Now I'm just going to tweak this sign a little bit. I thought it was really cute. I liked what it said. I just didn't really like the gold color, not for the farmhouse look that I'm going for. I'm not against gold, but just not on this day. I wanted rustic farmhouse. So I very carefully removed the word weekend, and I'm going to paint it black. And I'm using that Dollar General store little container of black chalkboard paint. You'll see that I'm kind of dabbing the paint on, because if you try like brush strokes, then it's just going to kind of wipe away as you're painting. So dab the paint on and you'll have a better result. The next thing I thought this sign needed to make it a little more rustic farmhouse was for the actual frame to be wood instead of white, which is totally opposite of what I usually think. I usually think wood things need to be white, but in this case I liked the backing of the sign to be white and I wanted the frame to be wood. So I taped it off using painter's tape, and a little hint here, be careful with the painter's tape because the backing of this frame is just paper, and if you get that tape too stuck down when you go to peel it back up, it could take the backing up with it, as you'll see. But I have a remedy for that too. Anyway, I'm using the Waverly Antique Wax to make the frame look more wood. So here is where you'll see that the backing came up with my tape. And I believe the remedy for that is, in the first place, go a lot slower than I did. I just kind of tore right into it and started ripping up tape. Go slowly. Secondly, get your heat gun or your hair dryer. I don't have a heat gun. I use a hair dryer, but that works fine too. Use a hair dryer like I learned to do here. And that will help release the tape from the backing, and the backing likely won't come up with your tape. Now the next step is to take the weekend word that we painted black and hot glue it back into place right over where it was. Okay, so as far as the placement of the flower is concerned, I really didn't have a plan when I started this project. I just figured I would play around with it and see where I liked it best. But since I ripped up my backing, I'm using the flower to hide that little mistake. I cut the stem of the flower a little too short, so I just went back in and cut another piece of the stalks that come with the flower to work as a longer stem for it. I felt like the sign was missing something, so I decided to make a jute string bow to go down in the corner under the flower. And the way that I did this was I wrapped jute string around my fingers several times, and then I cut a smaller piece of jute string and tied it in the middle. Cut the tails, and she's done. I think even though I had some little mistakes along the way, she still turned out really, really pretty. And for the last DIY today, I'm using this little trinket box that I found at the Dollar Tree. I thought it was super spectacular. I loved the bee on the top of it. I loved that it was ceramic, and I loved everything about it except for my farmhouse look. I didn't want gold. So figured it would be an easy enough fix, and I can hardly call this a DIY because it's really just a little makeover. All I did was I used that same black chalkboard paint from the Dollar General, and I painted over everything that was gold. I painted it black, and it wasn't that hard to do. You don't have to be an excellent painter, because believe me, I'm not. My hand is not that steady, but I just took the smallest brush that I had, and wherever there was gold, I put black paint. And here's a final look at all of the rustic farmhouse projects. and I think that they turned out so cute. I don't think anyone would know that you made these things out of dollar store stuff. I think that they look absolutely adorable. Thanks for being here with me today, taking the time to watch my video. And if you liked this video, go down below and give me a big thumbs up. That would really make my day. Love you all. See you next time.